All right, so the Champions League knockout phase draw is done today. As you can see, Liverpool's reward for finishing top of the league phase is PSG. Sick. Yeah, obviously not the best draw for Liverpool, but it was a 50-50 toss-up. Either Arsenal or Barcelona were going to get that tricky looking. I mean, Benfica, also a tricky side to be fair to them, but PSG with the form they're in right now look the scarier opposition. And with the way this draw has worked, we have ended up on what looks to be the harder side of the draw. Still strength on that other side though. And yeah, obviously I could sit here and be like, oh, it sucks to be on this side, but it was gonna be tough either way. It's just the way the draw has panned out this year. I think it's more affected by the fact that the league phase format, there were a lot of strong sides who finished lower than expected. Some big names like Real Madrid, Bayern, PSG, all finishing in the playoff spots rather than the top 8. So it was always going to be a bit tricky this year, but it's been exciting regardless. It's been a really, really good change to the format. I've really enjoyed it. And for Liverpool, we had a tough league phase. We're going to have a tough looking like knockout phase. It is what it is. Let's just roll with it and move. But yeah, as I say, you can see behind me now, our kind of path to the final, if we're lucky enough to make it there this year, is set with some of the dates just here as well for when those ties will take place. But so we have PSG first of all. If we can get through, then we potentially play Brugge or Villa, who obviously met in the league phase. Brugge won that game at their stadium. I think over 2 legs, Villa should have the strength to get that one done. Then you look at the other ones. We've got Madrid derby, you've got PSV, Arsenal. So in the semi-final, we could be facing one of those 4 if we make it. And then, of course, in the final, anyone from the other side of the bracket, with the favourites probably being the likes of Barca or Bayern. But it's interesting. It's going to be some really exciting ties for us with these kind of matchups. And yeah, I'll probably talk a little bit more about ours and specifically how some of these dates are going to line up for Liverpool. But just before I do, I will quickly touch on like a couple of the other key draws. This kind of like this portion of the bracket here was going to be interesting. We got a Madrid derby and we got Bayern versus Leverkusen. Now, these are really good matchups, but we already know them from their kind of domestic leagues. Would have been really nice to see Real Madrid versus Leverkusen, Atletico versus Bayern, just to kind of switch it up a bit, but it's fine. Really looking forward to this. All right, now quickly looking back at Liverpool, we would be taking on PSG either side of a tie against Southampton and just before the Carabao Cup final for that second leg. So not too bad. Again, quarterfinals not looking too bad. The first leg would be home against whoever, Brugge or Villa, in between Fulham and West Ham. And then the second leg would come just after West Ham before we take on Leicester. So again, that one would be away from home, but not too bad on paper. Just wait for the semi-finals though. If we make the Champions League semi-finals, we would be playing in between those Tottenham and Chelsea games and in between Chelsea and Arsenal. So say we get Real Madrid, Arsenal, whoever it might be, we'd be playing home to Tottenham, then away to one of those sides in the Champions League first leg, away to Chelsea, then a home tie second leg, and then home to Arsenal. That is brutal. If we're going to win the Champions League this year, if we're going to win the Premier League this year, it's going to be grueling work, but it will all be worth it. So go get it done, lads.